the Steam Next Fest has become the most exciting event that Steam does every year, even more so than the summer sale. And with hundreds and hundreds of demos available of some really great games, sometimes you tend to miss a couple. So if you are looking for some more demos to try, or if you are watching this after the event is over and you want to check out what you missed, then here are 10 demos that I tried out in no particular order, with the exception of the last one. That one is my favorite of the festival. So yeah, let's start. Ruffy and the Riverside is a 3D platformer collectathon with a unique twist, which is the ability to copy any texture you can find in the game and then paste it on something else. So for example, you can copy the texture of a leaf or a vine and you can paste it on a waterfall, and now suddenly you can climb the waterfall. Sounds great in theory. In practice, sure, you can copy any texture in the game, but you can only paste it on certain objects again. So for example, I cannot take water and turn this whole wall into a waterfall or anything like that. And that's where the problems start to arise, mainly in that you market such a unique idea, which can mean a lot of stuff. Essentially, you could be extremely creative with your puzzles, but then have a level in which you only have, in the demo, maybe a couple of things that I could actually swap, which is a shame. Don't get me wrong, the puzzles that are there are quite creative. It's just that even if it makes no sense, allow me to swap the textures. Just even if it doesn't really change anything, you should allow me to fuck up the level in a big way, and then just let me restart the level the way it was at the beginning. The demo has a few levels which are usually cut off, so they're not entire levels. There's a giant demo wall letting you know that you cannot go past it, but there are some really cool interactions, like the way you can interact with this little ocean bit. That one's fun. Or how you can turn some of these metal boxes into wood, so you can destroy the wood ones so that you can get a star. Who knows, maybe the full game would have more freedom in this regard, but why wouldn't you put it in the demo if that's the whole reason of a demo? I don't know, I guess we'll see closer to the release date. The game itself, for what it is there, it is extremely pretty. I especially love the hand color design of, well, all of the characters. I think that's great. This is a puzzle platformer, so the puzzles will be the main decisive thing if the game will turn out to be actually good or not. But I have high hopes for it. Yeah, it looks okay. And there are also mini games. There's only one mini game which was showcased, and from the looks of it, it looks like I might be able to impact the hay bale, maybe put a different material to it so that I can get some higher air with it. That'll be fun, but again, it's not in the demo. That's it. That's all I had to say about this one. Gothic 1 Remake is a game that I won't really get into because I assume you have either played it by now or you have seen other YouTubers play it. I think this is the obvious star of the next fest. Maybe not in terms of quality, but in terms of popularity. All I'll say is this one is much more faithful to the original game than the demo that was released in, I think, 5 years ago. A Eurojank tear left my eye when I died to the first enemy just to realize the game has no autosave feature. It's not perfect, but overall, the original game was not perfect either, so I assume that makes it even more faithful. The writing is quite good, the voice acting is as well, the combat is fine. There is a tiny detail I enjoyed when, after training with a guy and getting destroyed by him, he tells you that you should hold your sword with one hand so you can build up strength, and from that point on, your character will actually hold the sword with just one hand. So yeah, just give it a shot, but don't ask about the nameless hero, okay? We know this isn't him. Stop asking, this is a different guy. We still have the nameless hero, okay? Thank you. Have you ever wanted to play The Long Dark accompanied by a therapy bot, or playing Firewatch and actually having something dubious happening around? Well then, I might have the game for you. Arctic Awakening is a first-person narrative game set in the Arctic. Your plane crashes and you are split up with your co-pilot, so you need to survive and also find him wherever he might be. You are accompanied by a therapy bot, which by law must stay close to you, which means he cannot actually look for your friend. And there is weird shit flying about in the night. Overall, I'd say it is mostly similar to Firewatch than The Long Dark. There are some moments when the game tells you to gather some branches or gather resources, but I think that is mostly just for the narrative. You don't actually have health bar or hunger bar or anything like that. It is more about the narrative itself, which is good. Already in that half an hour, there were a lot of questions that I was curious about, like why does this bot need to stay with me? What happened with my children? How far in the future is this? You and your co-pilot say that you are veterans. Veterans of what war? What the fuck are those things in the air? What's up with this giant complex? There are a lot of interesting ideas here, and I am curious to see where it goes. The game is also quite pretty. It is again in the style of Firewatch, though it is perhaps a bit not as polished, but it's still good. The game also promises multiple endings and choices that have an impact, so I'm curious as to what those might be as well. I will say the demo ends at an awkward moment, which seems to be just before a story hook. It would have made more sense to be after it, I think, but overall, this is one of my favorite demos that I've played so far. The game is supposedly coming out sometime later this year, so I'll be looking out for it. Afterblast is a first-person shooter with roguelike elements. It reminded me a lot of RoboQuest. I'll try not to compare it to that game too much because RoboQuest is insanely polished, but this one, I had fun with it. Only the first area is available in the demo, which is basically 2 levels and a boss, and also a sneak peek of a second boss. I did a couple of runs and I had fun. The guns feel great, although I didn't really find a lot of different types of guns. You start off with an SMG, there are also shotguns, snipers, a grenade launcher, and yeah, I think that's it. I've never found any unique and interesting ideas of guns. Maybe that's just my luck, who knows. You can also find consumables, which are, well, not exactly consumables, but they are on cooldown and they can be grenades or turrets or little things that fly about and deal some damage. There are also items that just give out some passive boosts like more base damage, chance of poison damage, chance of shock damage. There wasn't exactly anything crazy with them either, but yeah, they felt good to have. The movement was kind of fun. You have a dash rather, which you can use on the ground or in the air as well. And you also have a grappling hook, which you can attach to the environment or enemies as well, which also has a short cooldown, but if the enemy is blue, which you can turn them blue by hitting them enough, you can just insta-kill them. The enemy variety is fine. Of course, this is just the first level, so I'm not sure how crazy enemy designs can get. It can get quite hectic with a lot of projectiles flying around the map, but I never actually died, which I think this is the biggest issue I had with demo. It was just a bit too easy. Even the first boss, which throws a fuck ton of projectiles, and I especially got hit a lot more in my second run, I still never quite died, and I'm used to dying a bunch of times before getting to the first boss in any roguelike. And also I think whenever you find new guns, it just throws a bunch of text at you. Just tell me what's the base damage of the gun so I can compare it to mine, and I don't need to sit around and check all of the damage numbers to see which sniper is better, mine or this one. It was mine. But yeah, this one has potential. I am a bit worried since the store page says that it will release in April, which I'm not sure if it'll be done by then. There are still some issues needed to be ironed out, but you know, who knows? Maybe this demo is based on an older version, I don't know. But it's good, I liked it. An elaborate history of chess. Now this is a weird one. It's a crafting strategy game with chess. You have pawns, which act as farmers, and you can move them around as you would expect a pawn piece to move. And you can gather food or different resources like stone, for example, so you can build castles to house even more pawns. So of course, because this is chess, the castles also move because they are rooks. And whenever you get attacked, because you do get attacked, you can use the castles to defend your pawns or the pawns themselves. And once you level up the pieces, then they can walk by themselves, so you don't have to manually move every single chess piece. And the more you play, the more you get some resources to craft, for example, iron plates, which you can give to pawns so they can become knights, or cloth so they can become bishops, and they all have their different abilities. The knight can jump over other pieces and are generally good for damage dealing, and the bishop boosts the XP that pieces around him gain. And just in general, there seems to be a lot more pieces than the ones we're used to in chess, and I assume there's a lore reason that we don't see them anymore. The game in general looks like it can get quite crazy. The demo itself is just on a small map, but you can see from the trailer that there seems to be dungeons and bosses and challenge zones and whatever. The only thing I found a bit lacking was the auto movability, which some pieces get after a certain level. Basically, it allows you to not have to worry about them anymore, but it just seems like it moves them randomly instead of where they might be the most useful. For example, the bishop, which has the ability to give more XP to pieces around him, just tends to wander off instead of staying near a lot of the pieces that I might need. But overall, I think it's a really fun idea and you should definitely check it out. Dreamspring is the game I'd least recommend in its current state out of all the others featured in the video. It feels more like an early alpha than a vertical slice of a game, but I still want to talk about it as I feel it has a lot of good potential and a great presentation. It is a first-person open-world Souls-like, which I'm sure at this point none of those words particularly excite you. But what drew me in and what kept me in for about 30 minutes was the dark fantasy aesthetic it's got going on. It has a great use of color and really cool vistas and what I'd expect to see of the label dark fantasy. It also has a VHS filter on that kind of complements the look. I turned it off about halfway through the demo as I was worried how it will look like on the YouTube video, but there are also CRT filters which you can turn on, but those seem a bit too overkill, and you can also combine the two, but that for me is just downright unplayable. The VHS filter is enough. The music is also a standout, and sometimes the visuals and the music can complement one another beautifully. The enemy models also fit rather nicely, as long as you don't hear them. And unfortunately that's all that I can say that I'm 100% positive on. The gameplay is a bit rough. It needs a lot of extra polish in some places. There's not a lot of feedback in the combat, especially with the gun. I do enjoy using the shield so I can parry the enemies because it automatically fills up your charge attack with the sword so you can do a lot of AoE damage. That one's good. But besides that, there's also not enough telegramming of some of the enemy's attack. I mean, what do I do with the eye? How do I dodge him? I don't have much else to say about the game. If this looks interesting to you, check it out. I'll be keeping a close eye on it and I'm hoping to see some more improvements in places, as it has a clear vision and there's a lot of passion put into it. Stygian Old Gods is a survival horror with RPG elements based on the work of famed and respected author H.P. Lovecraft. So it has everything you might expect. Introspection, long walks on the beach, and colorful wildlife. It is a very short demo. My footage shows it took about 20 minutes to beat. That includes me fucking around with the settings and also dying to a dog a bunch of times. But is it good? I don't know, it was too short. But still, the game is beautiful. It's moody, atmospheric, are those synonyms? I don't know. And extremely detailed in places. Part of the demo takes place in an office and it's absolutely cluttered with notes, books, pictures and random shit that makes the place feel lived in. It's good. It's also quite bloody. Here you'll also have the first RPG elements crop up. You have dialogue choices that the eyes will see. There's a moment when you look in the mirror and make some decisions regarding what type of person you are, which kind of sounds like it will dictate my stats, and a first ability point later on as well, which could either be combat focused, or I could choose to talk to the dead, and that's what I did. You get a visit from a lady with poor lip sync, and you're off to Kingsport, which is where the rest of the game will take place. You shipwreck on the beach, as you do, you find a guy who hands you a knife, and you are met with your first challenge. Open a locked door. Those guys clearly won't help. You can find a wounded man not far from here and are tasked with helping him somehow. You can craft a bandage, but there are not enough rags in the house. There's another place you can check out, but it's guarded by a fucked up looking dog. I do appreciate I can throw a bucket at him to stun him, and I hope to see more options like this in the main game. I also found a few corpses that I could talk to, thanks to my skill, but they offered a bit more info about the world. Turns out corpses aren't the most lucid when it comes to answering questions. It also seemed to affect my sanity, as it would. I find more rags, craft a bandage and help the guy out, meaning he still dies, but at least he gives me a key for the door. Thanks, guy. Once you get the door open, the game ends. And that's it. As I said, it is a very short demo, and I would have liked to see more of the combat or just more of the rest of the RPG mechanics in general. As for me, that will make or break the game, meaning the balance between the two elements. The atmosphere is great, and what is there is promising. We had a lot of Lovecraftian-inspired games, but we haven't had a truly good first-person game since Call of Cthulhu. Forgive Me Father doesn't count. It's good, but it's not exactly horror, is it? Twisted Tower. It's a first-person shooter similar to BioShock. They said it, not me. Actually, they call it a BioShock meets Disneyland game, which, yeah, it's accurate, but I would not. I don't want to compare this game to BioShock. They are similar, but what made BioShock one of the most influential games of all time was definitely not the combat, which here, yeah, it is better, but then again, that's not exactly a high bar. It was the atmosphere and the way the world was structured, making you feel like indeed Rapture can be a real place. And I feel like this is the weakest part of Twisted Tower. The game is atmospheric, sure, but once you're inside the tower itself, the architecture of it is just kind of messy. It just feels like they are levels in a game rather than an actual place. That could be the case. It does feel like the Twisted Tower itself is kind of a otherworldly place, but it still does not drag me in its atmosphere as I feel it wants me to. The enemy design is alright. The game has the tag of horror game, but I don't see it. It tries to be horror sometimes, sure, but it's not there. The story so far is also just save the princess from the tower, which, been there, done that. The weapons feel good. They actually feel great. I especially love the animations of it. It's just that the enemy animations and just in general the enemy AI, I feel it is a bit weak. The melee enemies are too slow to come at you, and they just have, I don't know, floaty animations to them. And there's this weird moment when you find a door with an X on it and the game says that this will be unlocked in your second playthrough, so you can have unique experiences every time you play the game. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just let me do all of them. If I want to play the fucking game, who locks different areas of the game for the second playthrough? Let me just finish the one playthrough. But yeah, besides this weird decision, weird design, with a lot more polish, the game could be quite fun. The guns feel great. There seems to be a lot of variety to them as well. There also seems to be some light puzzle elements to it, so it could be interesting. Just don't compare yourself to BioShock, please. Thank you. Bye-bye. Wanderstop is a chill game about making tea.
I'm a failure. I'm weak. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. A failure. I don't deserve it. I don't want to be this person. No. Snap out of it, Alta.
Oh Jesus, okay. Well, it's maybe not that chill. You play as Alta, a warrior that has just pushed herself to the limit way too much and just needs to chill and make some tea. I actually don't want to talk too much about this game because it's coming out in a couple of weeks on 11th of March, and if there is a game in this list that is most likely to be good, this is it. It is made by the creator of Stanley Parable and the creator of Gone Home and Tacoma, which are already excellent games. And the music is made by C418 of Minecraft fame. So this is just a perfect combination of everything, really. And the visuals are incredible. I think I said that about a lot of games, but yeah, fuck it. There's a lot of beautiful games out there. The gameplay is also quite fun. I would have loved, honestly, the only thing that I would have enjoyed more is if instead of being like yellow plant, pink plant, to be actually like real plants, you know. I want to make some green tea. I want to make some roubois. Yeah, I know my teas. Fuck off. But it's honestly everything about the game feels like it is coming out of just passion for the project, and it is just full of heart and charm, and the story, well, there actually seems to be a story. Was expecting to just be a cozy game, but no, there's a plot here with Alta fucking going insane. Well, she's not insane, don't be mean to her, she's just having a tough time. It's good, check it out. I actually expected this to come out on a Game Pass, but it turns out it's not. It looks like the type of game that will come out on Game Pass, but whatever, play the demo and see if you enjoy it. I enjoy it. I might grab it when it comes out. You don't know. I don't. In the Knightling, you play as a Knightling, which is a little knight, waiting for your mentor, Sir Lionstone, to get back from a mission. That's it. The game right at the beginning establishes 3 things. You wield giant talking shield, and that's it, you have no sword. You should go around to do some quests to help pass the time, and that you can slide on your shield. So of course, that's what I did. The Knightling is my favorite demo I played this next fest. It is the only demo I stopped playing, not because I got to the end or because I was done with it and wanted to play something else, but because I already knew I was 100% going to play the full version when it came out. It is perhaps the most confident demo out of all of the ones that I've tried. It is confident enough to give you a huge area that you can explore and find tons of little secrets in it. Confident in its puzzles, confident in its combat, which seems to be more focused on defending yourself so you can deal a lot of damage, since you have a huge shield, meaning there is this parry attack which fills up your kind of special ability with the shield that deals a lot of damage, just quite fun. Confident in its traversal. I have already mentioned the slide, but you can also chain it with you jumping around whenever you have a little cliff, and you can keep on sliding. Confident in its character design, which is excellent. This guy has an anvil as a head. Confident in its music. Confident that... Is that Peter Dinklage? I don't think it's him. Is he? Okay, I think you get the point. I played the demo for about an hour, and there was still some main quests that I did not yet do, and a lot of secondary quests that I did not do yet. It was enough for me. I knew I was gonna play the full version. The game reminds me at times of a really good Zelda game. It has the exploration of the newer ones with the characters and the puzzles and just the design in general of the older ones, which I think it's honestly the best of both worlds. There seems to be a lot more of the world left, if that even is the entire map, who knows. You have skill trees that you can work towards. The only thing I feel like it would need some work on will be the performance. It had some frame drops when putting everything in ultra, and I have 4070, so that shouldn't be a problem. But besides that, I've not really found any issues. This floating cow thing was the only thing I could classify as a bug from everything else I've played. It is just a game that is filled with charm and with just a lot of really good and fun ideas and a lot of soul put into it. And it also, like the majority of demos that I've covered, looks great and sounds amazing and feels great, and check it out, please. It is definitely the longest demo out of all of the ones I've showcased. And I will be more than happy to review it if I am somehow relevant by the time the game comes out. So hit me up. Thank you for watching. This wasn't exactly supposed to be my first video. I actually wanted to make a video about Medal of Honor, so Allied Assault, if you give a shit. So check check it out when it comes out. Subscribe so you know when it comes out if you give a shit. But I came across some really fun games as part of the Next Fest that I wanted to showcase to someone. And even though I have no subscribers, maybe this video will come out in time for someone to accidentally come across it and check it out, and then check out some of the games that I showcased. Maybe the Knightling, maybe the chess one, maybe what else did I fucking play? That was good. Arctic Awakening. Also enjoyed that one. But yeah, excuse the quality. It's the first time I'm doing this, and I don't really have the time to make it look and sound as good as I want it to, because it needs to come out while the next fest is still ongoing. But yeah, I have a fucking purple sock on my microphone because I have no what do you call it, filter. Is it good? Does it do a good job? Should I just keep the sock? It's cheaper than a filter. But yeah, if you tried the demos or you want to talk about some other demos, feel free to leave a comment. It helps with the engagement. And also, if you think this sounds like shit, how do I do to make it sound better? I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Love you.